Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Jeff. This is Jeff Talks Stocks. And today we are beginning an 8-part series on the most important aspects to consider before you invest in any company. Today we're going to talk about talent because Warren Buffett said one of the most important things whenever you consider investing in a stock is its management, and you want to have a management with talent and integrity. So I thought we would take some time to ask, what is talent and how can you find a CEO that has talent? So that is the subject of today's video. So let's get started. So the first question to ask is, what is talent? And talent is a natural aptitude or skill. So that is something that the CEO of a company will possess. It's something that they kind of have, usually pretty early on in life. You know, by the time they're in high school or college, the talent is already starting to come out. They're figuring things out. They're seeing the world differently. And when they start a company, when they start running the company, this becomes pretty apparent early on. And in my view, there are 3 ways that talent can express itself in the vision of a CEO. Now, the first way is a CEO has a talent of combining different parts in a really new way. So what I'm talking about here is the CEO doesn't necessarily invent anything, but they sort of see things that are out there in the world and they bring them together. I'll give you an example. Fred Smith is the CEO, the founder of FEDEX. Okay, so he started this company back in the 1970s. And you know, he didn't really invent everything or anything really. He loved flying planes. He was actually as a teenager, he learned how to fly airplanes. So he was already obsessed with flying planes, and he put that together with delivery trucks, which already existed, and the idea of a post office, and he kind of combined them all to make FedEx. And so he didn't have to really create anything. He figured out that you could have hubs in different parts of the country, and you could take packages, fly them in planes to the hub, and then fly them to the next city. And so using existing parts, he was able to put together FedEx. Another example is Jeff Bezos at Amazon. He didn't really come up with anything that didn't exist. He started by selling books, even though he knew that further on down the line he would sell, electronics and cameras and home accessories and clothing and other things. But he started with books, and he kind of connected the internet, which was just being born and was really new, with books and with the post office and delivery, and just using existing parts and combining them in new ways. So the second way is to collect valuable businesses. This is a talent that not a lot of people have, but certain CEOs have this uncanny ability to combine different businesses. And I'll use an example here of Warren Buffett. So Buffett is a great investor. That's how people know him, as investing in stocks. And it's true that Berkshire owns a portfolio of many stocks, but what he's really a master at, and that this is what he's done most recently in the last 20 or 30 years of his career, is buying entire companies outright. And if you look at Berkshire Hathaway, it's a holding company that owns a lot of wholly owned subsidiary companies. So 9 of the companies that Berkshire Hathaway owns would actually be standalone Fortune 500 companies on their own, and they just happen to be within the umbrella of Berkshire Hathaway. And so Buffett is really a collector. He doesn't even manage or run these companies personally. He leaves the day-to-day running of all the companies, the management, to their individual CEOs, and all he does is kind of oversee and help them out if they have any problems or questions, or if they need money injected into their businesses to grow, he can help them out with that. But he's really just a collector. That's, I think, the best way of put it together. And obviously he doesn't collect random things. He collects businesses that are valuable and where he sees something that he could bring under his company and run it. So he's very selective about what he buys. Let's just put it that way. Number 3 is to completely new businesses or a completely new way of delivering a service or providing a product. So I'll give you an example. Tesla, okay, Elon Musk, he has a lot of talent. Now, this is only one aspect of what you should be, paying attention to, but this is a guy who really figured out, at least in the United States, a way of creating an electric car and marketing it to the public. Electric cars have been around for a long time, but he actually created a company and was the first one to kind of push it out there in a visionary way, and did it before any other companies were really able to make this happen in a feasible way. Now, several years later, other car companies are catching up, and there are a lot of really exciting and cool new electric cars that are hitting the marketplace. But Elon Musk has that talent where he got a really big head start and was able to begin his company with an idea and a dream and a level of execution that nobody else was able to do. And another example of this is Jeff Bezos with Amazon Web Services, AWS. AWS, he started it, many years ago. I think it was about 10 years ago. And, he did it quietly. I remember getting notices about how, I could buy storage on their cloud system. It's now become much easier to use. But then they just developed AWS kind of quietly over 6 or 7 years, and everybody else just sort of sat and watched. Here's this guy who is a business genius with Amazon, with the retailing, and he came out with something big, and the competition just sort of watched. And he got this huge head start because he was going ahead and just experimenting with this cloud computing model and offering it to customers really inexpensively, and it worked. So anyways, Bezos and Elon Musk are just two examples of CEOs who, in my view, have a lot of talent. So I'm going to share with you a quote by Warren Buffett about Bezos, and he said, all he thinks about, all he wants is the customer to have a smile on their face. And Buffett also said, he's changed the world in a big way. When other smart people, successful people talk of CEOs this way, you get to realize, this is somebody who's doing something really different, doing something in a special way. This is someone who doesn't come along every day. So when you find somebody with this kind of talent, you really want to pay attention to it. So, I hope this info is useful for you. As I said, this is part of a series of 8 videos that I'm making, each one about a different quality that I feel is worthy to pay attention to before you invest in a company. But you really want to find a leader who has a lot of talent. I should say, just as a form of disclosure, that I own stock in Berkshire Hathaway and in Amazon, since I talked about them in this video. I used this measure of assessing talent before I made those investments. And, this was something that I just felt you want to invest with people who are really smart and who are a step ahead or several steps ahead of the competition, because their ability to experiment, their ability to look into the future maybe a little bit further than the average person or the average CEO, their ability to be inventive and to think big, to think in such a way that they're actually kind of participating in the world on a different level and bringing things together using maybe existing tools or new tools, but doing something that nobody else is doing. Anyways, that is really it. I want to leave you with one other quote. This is by Charlie Munger talking about Amazon. He said, Amazon is an utter phenomenon of nature. Okay? And he talked about Bezos as being ferociously smart. And so whenever you have somebody who's really intelligent talking about somebody else as being ferociously smart, that is also something just to perk your ears up and listen and take note and do your own reading and your own learning. And I would say one of the challenges in investing is, once you find out about Warren Buffett or Jeff Bezos, it's often after their companies have become phenomenally successful. So what you want to do is see if you can detect people who have this kind of talent, but maybe before the whole rest of the world figures it out, And there were undoubtedly people who recognized Warren Buffett's genius and Jeff Bezos's in the early innings, in the very early innings, and were able to say, okay, this is somebody that I want to invest with. If they have a company, if their stock is available, I think that this makes sense. So anyways, there you go. Talent, one of the 8 most important aspects of investing. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. I am coming out with the other videos soon, so stay tuned for them. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and also click the subscribe button. There's a little bell there. Hit the bell and you'll be notified when I make new videos. I have a book that just came out. It's on Amazon. It's called Stock Market Intelligence, and you can get that for Kindle or for paperback. I'll put a link in the description. So thank you so much for watching this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.